Hello everyone, this is Juliet Yelverton here from the Healing Earth, Healing Waters Centre, and we're doing another sharing this morning of Wise Women Contemplate Turbulent Times. I would just like to introduce us. So we have Rachel Elnaugh, who is Visionary Entrepreneur. She's so much more than that, and I think every one of us is so much more than the title that we put on ourselves. And we have Lynne Franks, who I'm sure many people know about, and she's going to share her insights and the areas that she's working on this morning on the talk. And we have Mabi from the Source Centre. Yeah, we're all a little bit nervous because we haven't done this together before, and we haven't met each other, and we're just meeting in this moment. So how can we show up as wise women? How can we even put that title on ourselves? So let's take a moment, everyone. Thank you for being here on the call with us. Let's just take a moment and reflect. What does it mean to be wise? And what is our intention here this morning for this call? I would like to suggest an intention. This is what speaks for me, and everyone here will have your own intention, but my intention is, how can we show up in turbulent times in a world that is very complex at the moment and very confusing? And I don't think there's anyone in this world that hasn't been touched by what's going on. How do we understand what's going on? And what's the most important thing that we can draw from this? And to me, it's about how we can be empowered in our knowing in the moment, how we can be sovereign, and that we're making our own choices, and that we're not being swayed one way or the other by the hugely complex information that's arising, and the sometimes quite deliberate attempts to make us go one way or another in our belief system. How can we stay empowered, and how can we employ critical thinking, and how can we even possibly hold two opposing paradoxes in our mind at the same time? Because life is requiring us to radically change our viewpoint around many things. How can we do that? How can we bridge across the shifts and stay empowered and connected and rooted in our knowledge of who we are as divine beings at this point in time? So how about we go round and we each share our intention of being here this morning? Lynne, would you like to share?
Yes, I'd be delighted. Good morning to all of you. So to be invited to a conversation with other wise women is something I will always say yes to. It is a pleasure and a privilege to be sharing our ideas and our experiences at this time, at this very important, crucial time in the shift that is happening for humanity and for the world. So sharing our intentions, our actions and our visions is what I'm here to do, to learn from all of you and perhaps offer some of the experiences I've had that have given me understanding about our roles in this particular time. We've chosen to be born right now, haven't we? We've chosen to be part of what's going on as wise women, and I feel I've been in training for this my whole life, and probably a lot of other lives, and I'm just here in service at this point in my life. That's what I'm here to do. So lovely to be here.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Lynne. Thank you for sharing that. Rachel, what's your intention this morning?
Thank you, Juliet. Yes, my feeling is that there is so much content at the moment, and I also create a lot of content looking at the challenges, but there's not a lot of content which is focused on the solution, a different future reality. So very much the intention with this call is to shine light onto the kind of future that it would be beautiful to co-create. as the alternative to the future that I fear. There is a plan which is being imposed upon us. At the moment, I oscillate between fear and despair and hope. And so I feel it's very important for us to create content which brings hope at this time of real turbulence and chaos and despair for so many people.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. That's so important that we have hope, because from where I'm sitting with looking at trauma, if we keep just rolling out that horror story that we're witnessing at the moment, then that leaves us massively traumatized and disempowered. And when we can find hope, then we find power to actually transform what's happening and be the change that we want to see happen in the world. Brigitte, what's your intention? What are you wanting to bring and share this morning?
Well, thank you first for inviting me. It's a big challenge for me to speak. However, I feel very touched. I feel my intention for this call is just to hold that still point. At a place where right now in our world, this tremendous polarization, at every level, every layer, every corner, everything is being polarized. We're meeting, everything is out in the field. And it's like I am part of this field. So what my intention today would be just, if as I hold myself within this collective field, which is not just energy, but it is emotions, feelings, thoughts, and spirituality. If I can just hold my peace and surrender this profound process that's breaking the old form and bring my attention to what is needing compassion, gratitude, tender care, and not collude with what is being imposed upon me and my responsibility. How do I respond when my rights are being crushed, or I'm being asked some impossible thing? So it's bridging the gap between the conditionings, the lineage trauma, with now suddenly surrendering with, it's okay, I can be home, I can be safe. So holding today the intention of that still point of, I'm home, I'm safe, and it's okay to hold that. And I'm very wobbly with all this because I was born in wartime, an absolute, a world that exploded. So for me today, sharing is asking a lot of courage. And yet I was born just when the peace treaty came. So I would like to bring that today. That peace, that it is okay, we're safe. And like in the Lord of the Ring, that ring, which is the Ouroboros, which is that perfect circle of unity, the law of one. Fredo cannot put the ring back in the fire, and Gollum has to take the finger and then jump in the fire. So it's that ultimate surrender. So are we open to surrendering right now and just going back to I am that I am? Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Brigitte. Yes, this is such a thing for all of us at this moment, and we're raising it here, is that everything is up. There's a huge amount of information flooding us, and all the collective trauma that's been hidden, everything that's been hidden for eons is now coming to the surface. Not just political control, not just deep, deep corruption with fraud and child abuse, human trafficking, satanic abuse, and so on. Things that are unthinkable, and it's like we can't even begin to comprehend them or even let them into our world, because they will so destabilize us. All these things that are up and are touching us with our own patterns of, I don't think there's anyone that's gone through life without being touched in some way or other by abuse, either within our own family systems or extended family or friends. That there's this incredible amount of abuse that happens on this planet. And currently there's this huge amount of abuse that's actually being perpetrated, and my feeling like there's a genocide happening with the amount of people that are currently dying. How do each one of us manage to stay safe, and to use that catchword? I don't want to use it in the way that the coronavirus, that people are using it, but how do we stay safe here and now? How do we anchor, as Brigitte is sharing? So what do we do, each one of us? What's our practice for staying safe and anchored in this moment with all the turbulence? Lynne, what do you do? What works for you? What helps you?
Well, I do have a spiritual practice. I've been a Buddhist on and off for years, Nichiren Shoshu Buddhist, so I chant every day and every evening, and I feel that affects me on a vibrational level, which raises me up, so I feel very protected. I see everything that's going on, I hear, I watch, but I don't engage emotionally, because if we start engaging emotionally, we go down a very dark hole of fear, and that's not our role. So I believe that it is about prayer for us as the wise women. It is about building those bridges for the youth to come up and cross and hold their hands. And what I've been doing is, I have 20 years ago wrote a book called The Seed Handbook, which was the first book written for women to start sustainable businesses that are actually going to help nature and the earth and each other. And that has evolved now into quite a big community of women who are wise women, but because of their traumas or damage or life, are not quite sure of their own incredible gifts and abilities, because we are, I have no doubt at all, we are the ones that are going to be leading the way into the light. That's why I don't like going down the rabbit holes. I don't believe anything I get told by politicians or journalists, obviously. We know that we're being told complete fantasy on a daily basis that is causing a huge amount of harm for an awful lot of people. It's dreadful. But equally, I can only stay in that state of positivity. And that's where my role is with the women, the Seed tribe that I support, and who are coming more and more my way all the time. Women who have reached a certain point in their lives, probably post-menopause, some still with their husbands, some a lot on their own, some have been through corporate world, some have had their own businesses, some grandmothers, many grandmothers. And it's like, okay, well, we're not gone yet. We have a role to play. What is that role? So I open that space and facilitate the opportunity for us all to really see our roles in our communities and the bigger picture and in our local communities. And I'm working quite hard in my head as much as anywhere else, and my visions as to how we can, on a practical level, take this leadership role in our communities, whether it's encouraging the planting of seeds, growing our own vegetables, localized currencies, all the things that we've seen that have been around for quite a while, you know, were quite big in the 80s, but didn't then evolve. And now it's time for us to be, in the same way that Indigenous women are in their tribes, the matriarchs and the leaders and holding the spiritual space. That's clearly our role now. And I live in a small town these days in Somerset, where I feel I sort of flew in on my broomstick, but I mean, I don't know how I got here, but I'm here, and I know it's no coincidence, and I'm supposed to be here. I'm halfway between Stonehenge and the Tor, and you know, there's great energy that goes through the earth here. Mother Earth is very alive, and so I am very grateful to be here. And I've got these buildings that I bought that are a physical space to be for women who are coming to heal and grow and learn about themselves. But mostly, I guess it's for me to be feeling held in this space. I haven't personally suffered at all from this whole lockdown situation. I mean, I've closed businesses, I've adapted, I've started new businesses all the time. I have a shop, I'm doing products that are sustainable, that will help other people. But that's, and I enjoy that. So in answer to your question, what keeps me going? My spiritual practice, my creativity and my enjoyment, my connection with others, the fact that I'm living in this beautiful part of the country where I am free to go and take my dog for a walk, be in nature, breathe the air, and just be present. I'm so grateful for whatever it is, my guides, divine, that's brought me to this space at this time. I'm 72. I've got 7 beautiful grandchildren who aren't living around here, but we're in touch. But my role now is to hold the space for others. And that's what gives me my joy, I guess.
Yeah, beautiful, Lynne. Thank you. And out of all those things, so I think each one of us are very lucky to be in a beautiful environment. Each one of us here has land and a house and so on, but there are many people in very difficult circumstances. So is there one word, one thing of what you've said about what anchors you that you could offer them? Say they're in a tenement building.
Community.
Yeah.
Because even in a tenement building, you've got neighbours. We can create community wherever we are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's my feeling as well. Yeah. Thank you. So, Rachel, what helps you to anchor in these times?
I echo what Lynne said about living in the country and being in nature. I mean, it really is the antidote to come back to that 0 point, to come back to that center and to get back into that more sort of vertical alignment. Because whenever I venture out from my little home here in the middle of the Peak District, which is, I'm surrounded by nature. My triggers are when I venture into the town or I venture to London, which I very rarely do. And I notice just how it pulls me out of that central alignment, how easily triggered I am. And one of the things that I've really discovered to be very empowering about understanding, recognizing those triggers and really holding the space, to use those triggers to create content and to speak my truth. This is a trauma-based thing, but when I was younger and I had 3 older, kind of quite bullying brothers and quite a turbulent, quite abusive childhood, which I'm not saying my brothers were abusers, they just didn't know any better, and my parents were busy running a business, so we were left to our own devices. And when I was little, I was powerless in the face of this overwhelming energy. I was powerless to speak out. I was powerless to fight back. I just had to kind of suck it up. And so one of the things I've really realized through speaking out, through making YouTube content and doing live streams on Facebook and shining the light on what's going on, it has been actually, it's felt very healing for me to be able to, in that small way, to be able to find my voice, to say that strong no. So I have found that actually creating a lot of content has been very cathartic for me. So I'd say those 2 things, being in nature, but also when I'm triggered, to channel that energy into a very strong no, which is resonating. And really, I'm getting so much feedback of gratitude from people saying, thank you for articulating what I was feeling. This is a clarion call, giving people permission to find that strong no that they may not have had in situations where they were overwhelmed by external forces. So just to say the one word, though, just to add into the mix, and again to echo Lynne, a big thing for me is prayer. When I'm in that place of darkness, is just to hand it over and to just call in Great Spirit, calling on Jesus, calling on the mountain, Apu Azangate, calling on White Tara, calling on these, just handing it over to a higher power, and being in that place of faith and trust and surrender. That's my ultimate antidote at the current time.
Yeah, that's really powerful and beautiful, isn't it, Rachel? And you've been on this journey for a long time now, for somebody that's just starting out and they've been totally frightened and feeling disempowered, they're in the midst of all this terror at this moment, what would be the one word that you would give to them to make their first step towards being able to gain their power again?
Well, it's not one word, it's stillness and fully feeling. Just to be in that space of just stopping and fully feeling what is coming up, fully feeling the fear, fully feeling the anger, fully feeling the despair, whatever it is. Because in that fully feeling, that allowing, there's tremendous healing power to give it conscious awareness.
Thank you so much, Rachel. And yes, to fully feel something is the first step towards transforming and integrating it. And for many of us, we can't necessarily fully feel at the moment. All we might feel is our numbness. And if it's just our numbness that we feel, then that is what we're feeling. And just to really validate that wherever we are in this moment in time, it's that if we can stop and be with what it is, even if it's numbness, and be present to it in this moment, is really, really empowering. And Brigitte, what is it that helps you anchor?
Well, deep gratitude for the breath of life, for the heartbeat. Right now, for tending a bird who was so traumatized, and to be part of the life of a different being from a different realm. So if you're living in a flat, maybe tending a flower, just bringing a seed, tending something may help. Just to move from that place of being activated to just suddenly, oh, I can tend life. And through tending that life, a softening happens around that trauma, and transformation and healing happens. So that echoes to both Lynne and Rachel. And I would say, in the face of such trauma, I ask myself every day, what is home for me? And home is that place where I can meditate, I can listen to a beautiful piece of music, I can choose not to go with seeing the people masked when I go in a shop, but just seeing the smile radiating through my eyes into their eyes, and sending out the highest frequency of love, of compassion, and of gratitude from the being that I am to the being that they are. And that for me is a profound resource when I go into a shop. Nature is another resource for me. And speaking my truth. So what I started doing was creating very short videos. Although I've removed myself from Facebook, I still choose to add on a regular basis very short videos. And in each video, I add a little seed. So I am not going with for example, some of my medicine as walking the feminine shaman's path is the true spider, the spider who holds the light as she weaves a web. And if it gets broken, she will weave it again. Spider medicine is weaving. It's a feminine medicine. But that matrix of the divine, the law of one, has been hijacked. Today it came, so I need to quote The Lord of the Ring, because it was a very powerful film that has so many pieces that link into what's happening now. And there was that dark spider, but she didn't kill Frodo. She just anesthetized Frodo. And as a tracker from the time I was a child, what I've seen is most of the people are anesthetized. People are hypnotized. So not going with media. So if I have an advice today, don't listen to media. Don't go with television. Learn to see with the eyes of the child. Learn to hear the sound of a bird, the sound of the wind, the crackling of the fire, the sound of your own voice if you live on your own. So sing to yourself, dance, and remember, if nothing works, just look at yourself in the mirror and welcome yourself and say, I hold gratitude because I see you. That's my sharing for today. As one of the women going to be 75 in a month's time, and being a grandmother of 16 and a mother of 5. Thank you. Did you want just one word?
Oh yes, I was so moved by what you were just sharing that I couldn't speak. I was just like so touched. Thank you.
Well, Martin Luther King said, I had a dream. So for each one of you, wherever you are on planet Earth, my dream is remember. Bring the members, the fragments. The bee, she goes from one flower to another flower. She's got the most sensitive immune system of all flying beings, and she's a being of the 4th dimension. But she goes to the flowers where she's going to collect exactly what she needs. But you too can weave and remember, what do I need today? Maybe I need a different food. Maybe I need to hydrate. Maybe I just need to be still today. Maybe I just need to be soft. Maybe I just need to be kind. Maybe I just need to cry. And just value your humanity, because right now what is running out there is a program for dehumanizing humanity. So what I'm doing, like Lynne and each one of you, I don't go down that rabbit hole that says, please come, I'm going to lure you. Mirage illusions. Don't go there. Just look. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. And you are that light. So each one of you are that light.
Yes, that's beautiful. And we're coming to the end of our sharing, but what I'm hearing is that connecting to our spirituality in whatever form that is, anchoring into our humanity, building community, being in nature, keeping our connections, being present to ourselves and each other. These are all really powerful things. And I would just like to share also that human beings are highly creative. And I think one of the things that's been happening recently, so many of our possibilities are being closed down, or an attempt to close them down. But I find that for me, one of the most creative things is to go out and be kind to somebody. I just get such an amazing feeling when I just share such a simple thing. You know, it might just be a smile, or some little schoolgirls come past my house every day and they stop and they say, hello, Juliet. How's your garden today? And I say, oh, would you like a pear? And I run in and give them a pear and they eat it and they're really, really happy, and or a glass of water. And it makes me feel so good just sharing and making that connection with people all the time. It lifts my heart so much and helps me get through the day. So I'm aware that what we're sharing here are very much what we consider to be feminine values, and that these have been so devalued, and women's voices particularly are being closed down. But things around the feminine, those people practicing the feminine, men that are practicing feminine values have been emasculated. How do we help the grandmothers? How do we help? Every one of us has a huge wisdom. So if you're listening to this call today, I'm just asking you to anchor into your own wisdom, because you have an immense amount. So I'm here to really support you, and if you contact me, I'm really happy to support you in any way that I can. And I've just asked each person on the call now, before we wind up the call, how would you like to support people who can't find their voice at this moment, or they are feeling disempowered? What would you offer to them as wise women, as grandmothers, as grandfathers? How can you support them? So Lynne, what can you do to offer support to people?
I think the word here is hope. We said it earlier, and I think it's really encouraging and staying positive, staying loving, keep dancing, plant the positive seeds, and just be who we are, and then that will affect others. I feel very positive. I feel very hopeful. I think in the next couple of months we're going to see a huge change, a door opening into a new kind of living and being, that this traumatic, very unpleasant situation has given us the opportunity to do this. I feel really, really positive. I share that all the time. I do use social media. I think that the fact that we can only talk to so many people in a day, and the mask situation, which is so terrible, means that let's use it as a tool. We all know that it's manipulative and it's not particularly healthy, but we can use it too, and we can use it to put out the positive messages, not the words of doom, not the conspiracy stuff which gets taken off anyway, but being aware and acknowledge the trauma that we're all going through, and being there as a symbol of hope. It repercusses, doesn't it? As we stand there in our positive way, with a smile in our eyes and a smile on our faces, then that goes to the next and the next and the next. And I do think it's important for us to hold out our hands to men. I think they're very traumatized. I think that they are also ready to move into this new feminine energy, this sacred feminine energy that has been hovering and is now ready to emerge, which connects us with everything good, nature, environment, and sufficiency for all. I truly believe there is sufficiency for all in this world, all, and that includes the poorest of the poor, people that are suffering far more than us in other countries. It is up to us to show others that by our belief in this sufficiency, we can all manifest it. We have to create the vision, and it will then be. We have created the vision. We know it will be. We know we can create this incredible, new, positive world where everybody will be, I believe, healthy and held. And I wrote something in a book I wrote in 2004. I read it again recently about the future. And it really is about the cooperative age, a cooperation between human beings and the planet, between men and women, between the old and the young, between science and spirituality, between, well, I used to say governments and non-governmental organizations, but I don't have much hope there. But it's other than that, it's a cooperative world where we all can share our dreams and make them real together, collaborate, communicate, and community. That's it.
Yeah, I'm getting shivers as you're sharing that, Lynne.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, we are indeed moving into an incredibly powerful era of mutual care and cooperation and well-being. And I think the first step in that is each one of us taking our power and to know that. I listened to the Thrive 2 movie last night, and one thing it finished up with is like, don't think of yourself as just a drop in the ocean, but think of yourself as the ocean within the drop.
Beautiful.
Yeah, each one of us are an ocean. We are all interconnected. We are all very, very powerful beings, and each one of us has a really powerful role to play. I'm just here welcoming each one of you that wants to be part of anything that I can connect you to. And Rachel, what would you offer to people that haven't had the voice yet and haven't been able to show up yet?
I have to say that a few years ago when I created SourceTV, it was, well, we're going to change the world. And I've realized, in truth, the only person that I really need to do any fixing on is myself. And so this inner journey, whatever's triggering me on the external, trying to come back within and to try to get to that 0 point place, so that when I speak out, that it's coming from the purest possible place that I can come from. My service to others is actually in my own inner work. And that might sound selfish, but at some level, I'm creating all of this. We're co-creating all of this. And so what is it within me that I need to shift my externals?
Yeah, and I've really deeply, because we've been working alongside each other for a long time, I've really deeply witnessed you being in that place. And just to say, when we can be in integrity and when we can be in alignment, if we can check, am I being authentic here, or is there a part of me that's split off and thinking a different thing or doing a different thing? Or maybe there's a part of me that's split off and I don't know about it. And then that's showing up in the external reality that there's something not right. So just always coming back to that center. Yeah, that's really important. And I salute you, Rachel, for all the work that you've done over the years. It's really been amazing to witness. Yeah.
Thanks, Juliet.
Yeah. So, Brigitte, we are coming to the end of the call, and just wanting to ask you, what would you say to others to help those that haven't ever had a voice or don't feel empowered to contribute in any way?
What I would say, as one of the wisdom keepers who had no voice, whose mother had no voice, whose grandmother had no voice, and I did see that as a child. But if I can do it, and I have done it, so can you. And I totally echo and resonate with the authenticity. So start just trusting that inner voice from the within yourself at the deepest point. Just start lending an ear and saying, I hear you. What is it you wish to share with the world? With me first, before you share it with the world. And I am here listening. And it's okay. Maybe at first, the syllables will break, but still keep going. I am here listening to you. So, what I would say is just be patient as you start putting your voice and listening just to the sound of the murmur that you're making before you even start hearing someone else, because often we can't even hear someone else, or we can't even see or feel someone else. Because when we have trauma, there is a veil between me and that other person, and we can't see them with clarity. So please trust in your voice and what it needs to say.
Yay, thank you so much, Brigitte. Thank you. And I also have witnessed you over many years just moving towards finding your voice, and it's just like really wonderful to have you this morning on the call, because I've been touched by your wisdom and your heart so many times in my life, and now to be able to facilitate for other people to be touched in this way is really wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we are coming to the end of the call for whoever's listening, and thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and just from my heart to yours, I wish you really, really well, and believe in yourself, whatever the difficulties, whatever the challenges. Know that you are divine, you have enormous capacity, and that you can move through what's happening at this moment in time. And if you need help, there's 4 of us here that you can reach out to wherever you are. Brigitte is in France, and Rachel in the north of England, and Lynne and I are in the southwest of England. And if you can't reach out to us, then there's somebody very wonderful and wise and supportive close to you. So just reach out, just send out your connections. So lots of love.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
I think that was wonderful, and I think that was very beautiful. And I hope you agree. Thank you for hosting that, Juliet, and for holding the space.
It was beautiful. It just flowed. It was so, every one of us, it was just so in the moment, and I think it was beautiful. I'm very moved by all of you, and thank you very much. I actually feel very tearful now. I think that was so powerful, beautifully led by you, Juliet. And Brigitte, your words were just incredible and reflected everything I wanted to say but didn't get out. And Rachel, you know, the fact that you've got to this space and you're holding this space is just fantastic. I got inspired by your last week's group about meeting up on the tour on the 21st for the solstice, where we can really, if we can get there. Brigitte's obviously not going to get there, but
Well, she might.
Well, it'd be wonderful if she did. So I'm totally committed to being there on the 21st, and we'll be bringing people with me as well. So if we can hold the light as the wise women to bring in this new age, so be it.
Well, yes. Yeah.
And I just wish to say thank you to all of you. I was very shaky today.
You were fantastic.
Thank you.
You were fantastic. Really moving. Anybody that sees that as it is, all I know is that you 3 were just incredible, and it really made my huge shivers. This is our role. Okay, God bless. Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you.